Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Space Marine chapters as we get into the Sons of Medusa. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day, and if you have any suggestions, please comment down below. Now, if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It's because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. With that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Sons of Medusa. The Sons of Medusa is a loyalist successor chapter of the Space Marines, drawn from the unforgiving Iron Hands chapter. It is a chapter with a history of ruthless efficiency in the merciless persecution of the Imperium of man's foes. Like their forebearers, they are extreme devotees of the Emperor of mankind, and look with disgust upon those who lack their strength of will. The Sons of Medusa were originally depicted in a dark green color scheme. In their contemporary color scheme, they are depicted with emerald green power armor, white helmets, and black trim. The Sons of Medusa's chapter badge was originally a Medusa's head, but was later stylized into a white skull with a black, 8-pointed iron halo surrounding it. The Desert World support squad of the Sons of Medusa use a yellow-brown armor color scheme with vertical black tiger stripes and are deployed with heavy weapons as a Devastator squad. The Sons of Medusa are a highly respected Space Marine chapter with a long history of defending the Imperium from its foes. It has participated in a host of Imperial crusades and has been responsible for the triumphant defense of mankind's worlds from heretics and aliens. However, the glories of the chapter's history mask a darker past for the Sons of Medusa, a secret and turbulent history of heresy and discord. The origins of the chapter lie in the turbulent times of the Nova Terra Interregnum, which took place during the early 35th millennium. This was a period in human history of division and civil war, in which the Imperium became fractured in a number of different warring factions. The Adeptus Mechanicus was also affected during the Interregnum by divisions and internal warfare brought about by doctrinal differences and competing centers of power. One of the most discordant of these conflicts was the Moray schism, a dogmatic battle between the Martian orthodoxy of the standard cult Mechanicus and a far more radical creed based upon the prophetic writings of the triad of tech mystics from the minor forge world of Moray. The Moray schism was one of the most decisive and widespread doctrinal conflicts to afflict the Adeptus Mechanicus since the Horus Heresy. These heretical writings spread like wildfire through the domains of the Mechanicus, even after Moray was reduced to a cinder by the Fabricator General of Mars. The Moray Tech Creed was based on the prophetic wave calculation of the triad of tech mystics, who believed that they had discerned a series of predictive patterns within the micro-fluctuation of the Astronomicon's psychic beacon. They believed that these geometric patterns contained the word of the Omnissiah and God Emperor, from which the ski of future history and humanity's destinies could be read. These radical teachings included vile references to the future overthrow of the priesthood of Mars and the fusion of the cult Mechanicus and the ecclesiarchy into a unified ecclesiarchal hierarchy. Such claims were predictably treated as dark seditions by the Mechanicus authorities on Mars, and civil war was quickly sparked between the orthodox and radical elements of the Mechanicus. The disruptive creed of Moray quickly gained influence. Within the Mechanicus priesthood, a number of Tech Guard regiments and even some Titan legions caused untold harm before being transmitted further afield to Space Marine chapters with close ties to the Adeptus Mechanicus, and in this, the Iron Hands were no exception. Championed by the infamous Omnissian mystics, the Iron Father Setol Solex, a significant percentage of those within the chapter quickly embraced the Moray doctrines. As discord soon followed, the Iron Hands were faced with the prospect of a full civil war within their chapter. This was only averted by the wise counsel of the Iron Hands' Great Clan Council's intervention to propose a settlement. Though deemed straightforward and harsh, their solution to avoid mass bloodshed within the ranks was a simple one. Exile from the Iron Hands' homeworld of Medusa
for the minority who had embraced the dissident doctrines, and a binding treaty never to raise their hands against their former brothers, enacted by both sides. It is believed that fully a third of the Iron Hand brethren then departed, eventually joined in time by a handful of Space Marines from other Iron Hand successor chapters, who shared their common beliefs in the Moray doctrines, although evidence exists that some, such as the Red Talons, mercilessly destroyed their errant brothers over this matter, rather than suffer the dissident to live. These exiles still saw themselves as wholly a part of the Imperium of Man, and still full members of the Iron Hands. Therefore, they still sought to perform the God Emperor's given duty, and destroy the enemies of the Imperium. Operating as though still a part of their mother chapter, the Iron Hands exiles continued to increase their numbers and strengths, condemning their gene seed to higher imperial authorities among the Adeptus Mechanicus and conducting their duties. They continued to use the iconography and signature equipment of the Iron Hands, from which they had been outcast, with some minor variations, having further divided themselves into 3 new clan companies to support their steady increase in numbers. In the early years of the 37th millennium, matters continued in this vein until the dawning of the Age of Redemption. During this period of the Age of the Imperium, the newly resurgent High Lords of Terra reassembled the disparted strands of anarchy that had ravaged the Emperor's realm, and purged what could not be saved. The Moray exiles of the Iron Hands, now a separate chapter in all but name, were weighed and judged, their records examined in minute detail, as was their gene seed for unworthiness, chaotic taint, or mutational deviance. The exiles were found to be loyal and untainted. As a result, by a special edict of the High Lords of Terra, the Sons of Medusa were reorganized and ratified as a chapter of the Adeptus Astartes within the Emperor's grace. Despite protests within the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the grave misgiving held by numerous other Space Marine chapters at this violation of the standard practice for founding a new chapter of the Adeptus Astartes. Over the following centuries, the Sons of Medusa have earned a reputation for standing against the Emperor's foe, no matter how desperate the odds, winning for themselves a grudging respect, if not trust, of their other fellow Space Marines. Yet their reputation has been long marred by those who call the Sons of Medusa battlefield scavengers and carrion crows. During their lean years in exile, the chapter developed the habit of seeking out and appropriating weapons and technology from the fallen. It is said of the chapter by their detractor that the desire to take war gear from the dead remains an underlining motive of all their actions, and a principal reason they have never shunned combat against those Space Marine chapters who have turned renegade or become subject to censure by the High Lords of Terra. Although the Sons of Medusa were ultimately founded as a result of the Moray schism, it is unknown just how many of the Moray tech mystic teachings they still cling on to for more than the 5 millennia later. What is certain is that many factions of the Adeptus Mechanicus still view them with suspicion, and their forebearers, the Iron Hands, treat them with cold civility at best. In their character, the Sons of Medusa owe much to their forebearers, being utterly intolerant of physical or mental weakness in others, and least of all in themselves. This obsession manifests most notably in a distinct preference for high levels of cybernetic replacements amongst their battle brothers. Those who have fought alongside the chapter remark that they possess a frigid manner and seemingly emotionless response, taking little pleasure in success. Unlike many other Astartes, the Sons of Medusa do not crave glory or expect to prove their worthiness to their chapter. Failure to the Sons of Medusa is intolerable, and slights against the chapter's honor, perceived or real, are met with deadly force, while defeats are viewed as things to be recited and avenged. To an Astarte of the Sons of Medusa, doing otherwise would be a show of weakness, and weakness is death. In temperament, the battle brothers of the Sons of Medusa display the same demeanor as the Iron Hands. They abhor the weakness of flesh, and while they encase their bodies in cold steel, they are blessed of a hatred of the Emperor's foe, far hotter than any furnace. Given their crusading roots during and immediately following the Nova Terra interregnum, it is not surprising that the Sons of Medusa display an even keener urge to prosecute the Emperor's foe than their sires. Like their forebearers amongst the Iron Hands, the Sons of Medusa have a particular hatred for weakness in any form. This has had a marked effect on their combat doctrine. Like their former Iron Hand brethren, this hatred is extended to the physical body, seeing weakness even in themselves despite their obviously superior augmented superhuman physiques. It is not unknown for an Astarte of this chapter to further enhance himself through biochemical and cybernetic means, including the replacement of otherwise healthy limbs and organic body parts with bionic. The Sons of Medusa are ferocious in battle, always advancing forward in a relentless automaton-like manner, no matter how desperate the odds, throwing themselves violently at the enemy as they are overcome by a bitter, righteous anger at those who would defy the will of the Emperor and the Omnissiah. The Sons of Medusa differ somewhat from their prescription of the Codex Astarte in combat structure, while remaining true to its tenets at the tactical and squad level. The chapter follows a unique organizational pattern derived in part from their progenitor, the Iron Hands chapter. The chapter is divided into 3 war clans, each of which is further divided into a battle company, a tactical company, and a support company, rather than the usual division into 10 companies of 100 Astarte each. The battle and tactical companies conform roughly to their codex equivalents, while the support company comprises a mixture of Devastator, Assault, and Veteran squads. The chapter also does not maintain a dedicated scout company as required by the dictates of the codex. Instead, each of the war clans maintains a body of neophytes and initiates, which is considered to be an auxiliary force. Like all chapters, the actual strength of the Sons of Medusa can vary greatly based upon current levels of attrition in the ranks and status of its scout force. The scout force in particular can vary in size, as the chapter is notoriously harsh on its neophytes, brooking no signs of weakness or failure in them. For those who do not live up to the harsh standards of the chapter, those that falter or fail in the judgment of their masters, the fate of a mindless cybernetic servitor in the chapter's forges is the best that they can hope for. In a pattern similar to their forebearers, the Sons of Medusa maintain a non-standard clan structure, which overlays the more traditional pattern of Space Marine organization found within the Codex Astarte. Whereas the Iron Hands are formed of 10 clan companies associated with their homeworld of Medusa's nomadic city caravans, the Sons of Medusa maintain 3 war clans, the Lachesis, the Magra, and the Atropos, which were established by the chapter's founder, Iron Father Seto Solax, during the Moray schism. The doctrine and hierarchy within these war clans is largely independent of the others, but all owe fealty to the larger chapter command structure and the Council of 3 and Chamber Ferrum. Each of the war clan's insignias and heraldry vary somewhat from the other, with the Mager war clan utilizing the purest form of the chapter's emerald and white heraldry, the Atropos incorporating further elements of sable black in their heraldry, and the Lachesis preferring silver steel. Beyond these individual signs of differences between the war clans, what dogmatic or strategic variances between them exists, as well as true interplay and seniority of the officers within the chapter, remains utterly impenetrable to outsiders. Each of the war clans is commanded by an officer called an Iron Thane, and each of the 3 companies within a war clan is commanded by a captain, attended in a subordinate role by a dedicated chaplain as the master of the doctrine and discipline. The Iron Thanes act in concert to control the chapter as its Council of 3, as the chapter has had no single master since the passing of Seto Solax millennia ago. The chapter's Council of 3 is further advised by the wisdoms of the ancients, the chapter honored cadre of venerable dreadnoughts. The chapter's unusually extensive brotherhood of tech marines is known as the Chamber Verum. The members of the Chamber Verum are greater in both number and authority within the Sons of Medusa than the tech marine force found within a standard codex-compliant chapter. The Chamber Verum exists outside the structure of the 3 war clans, and its purpose is to enforce unity, cementing the chapter together as a whole. It is the tech marines of the Chamber Ferrum who maintain supplies of vital war material to the chapter's dispersed strike forces. The Chamber Ferrum further manages the disposition of the chapter's fleet, and holds with it the chapter's apothecarion and command of its forges and other facilities. As befits a scion chapter of the Iron Hands, the level of technology and weaponry used by the Sons of Medusa chapter is higher than the Imperial average, even among the usually well-equipped Astartes, and their armory is particularly extensive and diverse. The chapter's forge ships are known to be able to salvage, repair, and produce a wide variety of Adeptus Astarte war gear. Their range of technology is thought to include the extremely rare capability to construct new dreadnought chassis, and build some of the rarer Land Raider variants, such as the Land Raider Prometheus. Like their forebearer among the Iron Hands, the Sons of Medusa have a particular hatred for weakness in any form. This has had a marked effect on their combat doctrine. Like their former Iron Hand brethren, this hatred is extended to their physical body, seeing weakness even in themselves despite their obviously superior augmented superhuman physique. It is not unknown for an Astarte of this chapter to further enhance himself through biomechanical and cybernetic means, including the replacement of otherwise healthy limbs and organic body parts with bionics. In the year 182 of the 38th millennium, the mighty Bellrath Crusade was launched to liberate and dominate the area of space designated as the Lana Rifts in the northwestern fringes of the Segmentum Pacificus, from the hands of the xenos and heretics. This crusade, one of the largest of its kind in centuries, was conducted by well over 25 million levied Imperial Guard troops, with unknown numbers of pilgrims and hanger-ons swept on in its wake. The crusade was further augmented by 2 Titan legions and 8 Space Marine chapters of various times, with the Sons of Medusa being the most active. The chapter was heavily engaged during much of the crusade with an unknown xenos species. Within 50 standard years of its inception, the crusade began to falter, and it was at this time that the Sons of Medusa would win the greatest victory of the crusade against the twisted alien race the Imperium named the Helgramites. The chapter circumvented the aliens' attack fleet and conducted a perilous counterattack, striking at the heart of their domain in the star system codename Wormgyre. Using the arcane science of their Explorator Magos allies from the Adeptus Mechanicus, the chapter's modified fleet, which used modified warp drives that repelled the archaic fire that shielded Wormgyre, it provided them with a measure of defense for a time, and allowed them to catch their enemy unaware. With time running out, the Sons of Medusa gathered the might of the entire chapter, and plunged headlong into the heart of the Helgramite throne world. The chapter's attack was as relentless as it was merciless. It was said that the Sons of Medusa killed and killed again, methodically and coldly destroying the vile xenos creatures, firing until they exhausted the promethium in their flamers, and all their bolter shells were spent. Still they continued the merciless slaughter, with combat blades and chainswords, and even when these dulled and failed, with anything they could find to wield, or just their bare power fists, they fought on. The onslaught continued until the alien-templed cities were painted with a foul pale ichor and served the Helgramites for blood, and half their world had been smashed to ruin. Only then did the Sons of Medusa withdraw. Having torn the heart from the enemy, both militarily and spiritually, the Helgramites' resistance collapsed. In a handful of years, they were no more. Within a century, a great swaths of the Lana Rifts were brought under imperial dominion, and the Sons of Medusa entered the mythology of the new sector's inhabitants, whispered of in the old tales of the Emerald Death that fell from the stars to punish the God Emperor's foes.
And those were 40 facts on the Sons of Medusa. I hope you guys are enjoying these compilation videos. Like I said before, I'm not done binge watching Miniac. More new videos to come very soon. Thanks for everything, guys. This is Gershwin with One of Mine Syndicates signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.